What is going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to a gym video, a garage gym video. And I got some exciting news. I got a new piece of equipment. I've been using it for a couple weeks. I'm excited to share with you some of the details, the things that I found, whether it's going to be a good piece of equipment for you, possibly in your home gym. And without further ado, here it is. So it's not just any piece of equipment. It is the Speediance Gym Monster, a smart gym functional trainer all in one. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty impressed. So I'll briefly go over what smart gym equipment is, how Speediance fits into that, some of its unique features and things like that. Show you everything I've learned about the product over the past couple weeks. Talk about the pros, the cons, how it compares to other similar products on the market, and summarize it all up, tell you my final thoughts and whether I think it's a good purchase for you. So without further ado, press the thumbs up button. Let's talk about Speediance Gym Monster. All right, so first off, what is a smart piece of gym equipment? Comes down to a couple things in my opinion. One is a screen or some way of tracking your data. And the Speediance Gym Monster screen is no slouch. I think it's 21 inches, extremely bright, has Wi-Fi, speakers, Bluetooth, everything built in, and it shows you your smart tracking of your exercises, certain metrics. It's how you go through and select what classes you want to take or specific exercises you want to add to a workout. And overall, I've had literally no issues with using the screen on the Speediance over the past couple of weeks of testing it out. Another factor of being a smart piece of gym equipment is the way that the weight is applied. So as you can tell just from looking at the machine, it's extremely compact and small. There's no actual weight on it. The way it applies weight is through a magnetic flywire system. And I'm not a scientist, but all I know is it feels very, very similar to the weight that you're pulling with like a cable system or like a functional trainer in that way. And because of the magnetic resistance weight and the combination of having a screen where you can adjust things, you're able to do some really cool stuff I'll get into a little later. So to me, those are the two main functions that make a piece of equipment smart in your home gym. And I definitely think that you can qualify the Speediance as being a smart piece of gym equipment. By the way, I do want to say that Speediance did send me this to try out, but I was already looking into things like this to begin with, and so it just happened to work out great that they sent me this piece of equipment. That in no way hinders a review or what I would say about them. If it's bad, I'll tell you if it's bad. If it's good, I'll tell you if it's good. But they did tell me that they are having a Black Friday sale right now. You get 15% off the Gym Monster or 20% off the Gym Pal, which I have not tried, but either way, that's a really good deal. So check the link down below if you want to see that. So that's what makes it smart. Let me get into a little bit of what I've experienced using this over the past couple weeks. First thing I have to say is I have not found one exercise in a normal commercial gym that I cannot do some sort of variation of on this machine behind me. And that speaks volume because of how much volume and space there is in a commercial gym and how little this machine takes up. So there are classes and programs that you can take. It's all part of a membership program, but I'm pretty sure whenever you buy this machine, right now it's coming with a lifetime membership for free. Huge advantage over their competitors. But for me, the way I've been using this the most is just in the free lift mode. You're able to maneuver and do every exercise you want. So first things first, I got the machine in. I was expecting I was gonna have to at least put some parts together. Absolutely not. I mean, when I say this thing came fully assembled, it came fully assembled on a huge pallet, by the way. This thing is not light. I think it's like a couple 100 pounds, but either way, it came fully assembled. I was able to take it out of the crate, set it up, literally just take the plastic off, and it was good to go. So whenever you receive the product, you can wheel it to wherever it needs to be, set it up in less than 15 seconds, and boom, you have your new piece of equipment up and running. So setup was quick, shipping was quick as well. It took less than 2 weeks to get to my door. Couldn't ask for anything better than that. Now on to a quick overview of some of the features you can come to expect on the Speediance Gym Monster. One, the weight. Each individual side can go from 1 pound to 110 pounds. So when you attach that bar attachment, you can get up to 220 pounds of weight. But I will say this, so the feel of the weight is very similar to a cable, but it feels heavier. It definitely feels a little heavier as you're doing some of the movements. So that 220 pounds, I personally have not come close to it yet, but maybe one day I'll get there. And by the way, switching that weight is extremely easy. You can do it on the screen, or they have this Bluetooth ring that you wear. The Bluetooth ring is actually pretty cool. You leave it on your entire workout. You can change the weight from that by scrolling. You can also click it in to apply the weight once you've set the right amount. And if you're nervous that you might accidentally tap it, you can set it to a long tap or a double tap if that makes you feel more comfortable. It definitely takes a little getting used to wearing a Bluetooth ring throughout your entire workout, but after your first couple of workouts, it should just come natural to you. So there are a couple unique features that I've seen whenever you're in the free lift setting. One being your spotter modes, and you have two different variations of that. You have spotter mode 1, which will reduce the weight by I think like 50% once it feels you stop in the middle of your range of motion. And then you have spotter mode 2, which will completely disable that weight whenever it feels you stop in the range of motion. So when you're doing things like squatting or benching with a bar, it's a really good safety feature to have on. And I make sure I have it at least on 1 whenever I'm doing anything where I could be pressed in by the weight. A super useful mode for myself that I don't know if it's even the intended purpose is the partner mode, but for me, I call it the superset mode because what it does is it allows you to apply different weight to each individual cable. So it works really great in a scenario where you want to do a superset, say of tricep push downs on the tricep rope, so I can go do my push downs and then I can come straight over to the other cable and do like a tricep kickback with much lower weight without having to touch anything. And it's very similar to what you would be able to do on a normal functional trainer cable machine in your commercial gym. Another interesting feature that I've played with quite a bit has been the different weight resistance modes. So you have your standard, which is exactly how a cable pull would be. You feel the same amount of resistance the entire time you're doing your exercise. Then you go into the eccentric mode. I love this one for breaking through plateaus or just a little bit of muscle confusion. As you reach the end of your motion, when you start to come back down, it applies more weight on your eccentric portion of your exercise. And what's nice about this is as the weight goes up, the percentage scale goes up as well. So say if you're lifting 15 pounds, the eccentric might only add 7, but if you're lifting like 80 pounds, the eccentric might add like 50. So that's a feature I've been using a lot. And they have chains mode, which is very similar, like reminds me of like old school lifting in your high school gym, where you attach those big chains to the end of your barbell. And the more you come up on your concentric part of the motion, it adds more weight until you get to your end of range of motion. As you come back down, that weight comes back down as well. And then you have your constant, which I think is supposed to be used with their rower attachment, which I don't have, but it does feel exactly how you would feel if you were pulling on a rower. And apparently it's good for uses with rehabilitation and things like that. So briefly want to talk about the compactness of this thing. It is compact. When you have it folded up, it's about 2 foot wide by 6 foot tall, which can fit literally anywhere. And then when you fold the base down, it's like right about 4 foot wide. It's really, really compact. That is a pro. It also has some cons that I'll get into a little bit later. And as well as it being compact, it has the wheels on the bottom. So if you did want to move it to a different area of your house, you could. But if you're looking to put this in a spare bedroom or something like that, that's a plus for sure. Now this does have a plethora of different exercises. Like I said, I mostly use the free lift mode, but I did play around with the different exercises in the exercise library. There's a lot to pick from. You can also go through that exercise library and make your own workouts that will then go to this machine and you can follow along there. It comes with an app that you can do that on. It's super intuitive, super easy. So that option is there for you. So that should give you a pretty good overview of the machine and the capabilities. Let's talk about the pros and cons that I've experienced over the past couple weeks. So one pro that you're gonna get over having a commercial gym is obviously the fact that it's a smart machine. You're gonna get your personal profile, all of your data, your metrics. You're able to see kind of your curve of your resistance and how much force you're putting into each rep on each exercise. That has to be a pro, of course. Another pro comes down to the size and portability of this thing, especially when you're comparing it to its competitor, something like a tonal. 1, it's like 3 times the price of this. 2, you have to mount it to your wall. So once it's mounted, it's not going anywhere. And 3, you have to pay extra for the assembly, which sucks. This thing comes to you completely assembled, takes 2 seconds to set up, is way cheaper, and it's very, very stable as well. Speaking also on the cost compared to competitors, having no subscription or at least a free subscription right now to this, huge plus. Imagine having to spend $5,000 on a machine. By the way, this one right now costs $26.99 before any discounts. But imagine having to spend $5,000 on a machine, then pay an extra X amount to set it up, then pay an extra X amount every single month to be able to use all the features on it. From a values perspective, the Speediance Gym Monster is an absolute 100% win. Now, another pro, I said this earlier, but there is not an exercise that I haven't been able to do some variation of on this machine. Now that is impressive. For how compact this is, it's been extremely hard for me to get myself to go to the gym when I can do almost everything that I wanted to with this right here. And another pro, if I do run out of exercises, I have the full library there to help me. And something I forgot to mention about the screen, it actually articulates down. So say if I was like doing a bench press, I can put that screen down, flip the display mode, and still be able to see my range of motion and my rep counter even when I'm on my back. And the last major pro that I found is the support for this thing. I've had it a little over 2 weeks, and I think I've gotten 3 major solid updates that have just added new ways to interact with it and made the ease of use of the machine so much better. So I can tell you for the time that I've had it, Speediance has made the ease of use of the machine better over time with those updates. All right, so those are the pros. Let's move into some of the cons. And I mentioned this earlier, but it is compact. It is a small machine, and that does come with some pros and some cons. The cons being the height. So I'm a 6'4" guy. Sometimes I like to do things that are a little over my head, and with this machine only being 6 foot, it does make it difficult sometimes. So that's probably been the biggest one for me, as well as the width. It's difficult for me to do a full spread on a cable fly or something like that, given that the width of the machine is probably about 2.5 foot, somewhere around there. Also, I have ran into the issue of some of the attachments hitting the screen, which is very scary. I'm sure that's not an easy part to fix. I don't know the best way around it or if there is a way of avoiding it, but sometimes when I use different attachments and I release that weight, it wants to just smack into the screen. It would be nice, I think, if they added 2 more attachments up here at the very top of the machine, so that way you can get a little more high to low down. And if they added more than just one single attachment on the bottom plate, I think you could do a little more variety there too, because there have been some instances where I have the bench all the way pressed up and I'm still not in the right position where the cables align. One thing I noticed when I first pulled out of the box, all of their accessories have a very specific type of adapter or attachment point. And I was like, oh, it's great. So now I can't use any of the other stuff that I have laying around. But they did think about that and they give you a couple, I think 4 extra attachment points, which make it universally usable. So that was a con, but they ended up fixing it right in the box anyways. Something else that they do have a fix for that I don't have is I wish there was a rack attachment, if that makes sense. So if I'm doing the bench press or squats or whatever, it would be nice to deload that weight and then rack the bar up on the uprights instead of having to shimmy out underneath it or lift it up over my head and try and wiggle it down. I just found out that they do offer those as an add-on, so I'll probably be purchasing those. But for the time being, the fact that it doesn't come in the box has to be a con. Something else I've noticed on the point of attachments and accessories, some of them are super high quality and really nice. The metal bar they give you with multiple attachment points, and it's knurled, it feels good. That's really nice. The tricep rope is really nice. The handles are okay. They're not the nicest handles I've ever used. They're definitely not up to par with what I've seen in commercial gyms. And same thing with the bench. When you get a lot of weight on that bench, it can start to sway a little bit and feel a little unsteady, but it is actually a pretty well-engineered bench because you can set it fully up on the pad. So it's tough to look at it either way. For me, I just wish it was a little more stable of a bench. And the last con that I found, kind of a personal one, I guess, but I did say I haven't been able to find anything that I can't modify and do on this machine, but that's just it. They are modifications. It's me getting into some weird positions or taking a little extra time to set things up with the right cable attachments and connecting the two together and all that kind of stuff. So yes, you can do just about everything, but you will be having to spend a little more time during that setup process to do everything correct. So what's the biggest competitor to the Speediance, or who is it competing with? I think the only big player, the biggest option, is the tonal. But like I spoke about earlier, from a value perspective, there's absolutely no way you can make that make sense. The initial cost is more, the setup is more, the membership is more. I don't know why you would choose that over this. The arms, I guess, are a bigger pro and you can get wider out. So that is nice, but you gotta really, really want that to pay the extra money for it. So for me personally, have I canceled my gym membership? No, not completely, but this has definitely changed the way that I work out at home. And I go to the gym maybe like 2 or 3 times a week, and I spend the other days in here working out at home, which I would not be able to do without this machine. Could it completely replace your gym membership? 100%. And I think if you're someone who wants to stay active, wants to get fit, wants to get in shape, stay in shape, even build a solid amount of muscle, this machine will do it. So unless you're someone who really needs or just really likes the feel of all those machines in the gym, you can get away with this right here, no problem. So my honest opinion, I've been loving this thing. I've been using it quite a bit. I'm going to continue using it quite a bit. It's a new staple in the home gym. If you guys want to pick it up, there is a link down below. It will help me out, maybe. I don't know. I don't care, whatever. You do get that savings though, that Black Friday savings, which will help you out for sure. And overall, I've just been very impressed. So I want to share my thoughts with you guys in this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Any questions that you have, leave a comment down below. I'll make sure I answer them, get back to you on it. But I think I'm about to get a workout in right now. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to press the thumbs up button, and I will be seeing you shortly in the next one. Peace.